Good morning, and welcome to the Urban League and Better Family Life Community Outreach Center here for Chief Hayden's Rectangle in North St. Louis. We want to welcome all of you here today. I want to thank the Urban League staff who have worked very hard along with the Better Family Life staff for today. Please ask them to stand, and I would like to give them a big round of applause and appreciation. We are going to start off today's program with an invocation from Reverend Dr. Witherspoon. I'd like to ask him to please come to the podium.
Shall we pray? In 1930, Harry Emerson Fosdick wrote the hymn, God of Grace, God of Glory, for the dedication of the famous Riverside Church in New York City. In the hymn were words that both rang true then as well as now, requesting the divine intervention, guidance, and clarity for providing the wisdom needed for assisting community leaders with the knowledge and wherewithal for dealing with humanity. Fosdick wrote, grant us wisdom, grant us courage for the facing of this hour, for the facing of this hour. Needless to say, wisdom and courage are still necessary hallmarks for our present times. Hallmarks, mind you, that when used justly, strengthen our nation for the good. Today, we invite you, Lord, to this momentous gathering to lead collectively and collaborative efforts to better our community. We realize without your efforts, we would fail. Let your Holy Spirit grant us the abilities, gifts, and talents for such a time as this. And may we all who are present, all who witness this moment, be forever reminded that you have foreordained this collaborative time in the lives of our community. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. We would not be hosting today's program without the generosity of Civic Progress and the RBC. I'd like to ask Tom Santel and Kathy Osborne to please stand and be recognized for their hard work and dedication on behalf of both organizations. And in Kathy's case, I understand that when you are a Citizen of the Year, you must be referred to as Your Excellency in the course of that entire year. This outreach center would not have been possible without this collaboration between all of us. And I want to ask the staff of Save Our Sons to just raise your hands in the back. Tydrell Stevens is the director here. And since we have opened in January, over 130 men have received jobs. Thank you. And Tydrell, if you would please come forward. He's so committed to this process that in addition to working for Save Our Sons, he actually found this office and moved into Chief Hayden's Rectangle with his sons so that he would be an example to people about what we can do when we are intentional about making a difference and changing lives. Thank you, Tydrell, for everything that you do, and all of the staff and everyone that work here in this office, along with the Better Family Life staff. So this morning, I am pleased to bring forth a woman in leadership who is making a tremendous difference in this community, who came to St. Louis and has been active in the civic leadership ever since she came from the RBC in terms of collaborating on behalf of Civic Progress to also working with the regional chamber and making a difference within her company. And that is the president of Spire, Suzanne Sitherwood.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, everyone, for being here. I was driving over here, and I only had the opportunity for a very short thought because I only live a mile away. So this was very nice. I got in late last night on a flight, so it was nice to be able to start my day with such enthusiasm this morning. It is exciting to hear the results that are happening here really in a short period of time. And I really do extend my personal gratitude to Urban League and Better Family Life for the great work you're doing. You're making a tangible impact in the lives of so many. And really, isn't that the most important thing that we need to do as humans? Your efforts make a difference. And I think the life-changing work you do demonstrates why these investments are so valuable to a region. But before I go any further, I'd like to acknowledge several people who are joining us here today. And I don't have my contacts in, so I'm asking you to stand, and so I can't look around the room real well. St. Louis Mayor, I did see the mayor over here. Everybody knows the mayor, Lyda Krewson. St. Louis County Exec, Dr. Sam Page. There you go. Front row, of course. Maybe they put it by an order now. Judge Jimmy Edwards, Public Safety Director for the City of St. Louis. Thank you, Judge. St. Louis Metropolitan Police Chief, John Hayden. Hey, John, good to see you this morning. St. Louis County Police Chief, John Belmar, Chief. Reverend Dr. Anthony Witherspoon, thank you so much for the invocation. And our host, Michael McMillan, CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and from Better Family Life, James Clark, Vice President of Community Outreach. And Malik Amen, are you here, Malik? I didn't see you. I did. What am I saying? I told you I don't have my contacts in. I'd also like to recognize our other elected officials here today. If you would please stand. Thank you very much. And finally, but most importantly, really, I'd like to acknowledge the community members in the room who represent our 2019 grantee organizations. Congratulations, and thank you for all the work that you do to make this community a better place and a brighter place, not just for those that are my age, but really sort of the future and what this region really can be, and we all want it to be, and we're all investing in. I am honored to represent Civic Progress, and by the way, this is my last month as chair. I keep telling everybody that. Remember, it's my last month as chair. And to once again join our partners, the Regional Business Council, to announce, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Over a $1 million contribution and new funding for the 8 organizations, did I say 1 million? That are making a proven impact on our community. So thank you. You're going to hear a little bit more about these groups in our program this morning, but each one is unique. Each one is unique in its own way. It has a special place, and they all share a common thread. They bring tools and access, resources needed for positive change in the most distressed neighborhoods in our region. Access is key. Access to opportunity enables economic development. Access to education provides a path for learning. Access to affordable housing helps us stabilize our families, and truly, the list goes on. Bottom line, the organization that we are collectively supporting and funding and honoring today are doing much more than just bringing programs to underserved neighborhoods. They are equipping and empowering men, women, and youth in these neighborhoods with the tools they need to achieve sustainable change that will impact our communities for future generations. As business leaders, being involved in the community is both a privilege and a responsibility, and I absolutely believe this to my core. I'm grateful for the ongoing partnerships with the Regional Business Council. It's been a great experience, and for the 125 businesses represented throughout our partnership, with whom I'm pleased to share the privilege and responsibility. By joining together to invest in these important initiatives, we are taking another step forward to influence positive change in our communities and the greater region. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us here this morning. This is very important, and a special thanks to the organizations that are recipients. Well done. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Greg, and Greg obviously is with the RBC, and good to see you again this morning. I think I saw you Friday morning or Thursday.
Well, thank you, Suzanne, and good morning. And just a quick comment about Suzanne. It's humbling, I think, for most of us, if not all of us, to see a non-St. Louisan enter our community and lead efforts to improve the community in which we live. So thank you very much. On behalf of the Regional Business Council, we're pleased to join Civic Progress with a $1 million gift to 8 organizations that are already making a difference in the lives of many St. Louis area residents. Let me briefly summarize those investments being made. This year, we're continuing our joint investment in the Urban League of St. Louis with $250,000 in new funding to support their Save Our Sons program for further expansion of facilities and resources, as well as their Federation of Block Units Neighborhood Crime Prevention Program. We're also renewing our joint commitment to Better Family Life with $250,000 in funding to be used towards expansion of programs such as the Neighborhood Alliance Outreach and the Gun Violence De-Escalation Conflict Resolution Program. Additionally, we're continuing our joint investment in STL Youth Jobs with a combined $225,000 to provide funding for summer employment programs. The Regional Business Council is also investing once again in the Little Bit Foundation and Northside Community School, both of which expand educational opportunities for at-risk children and youth. We're pleased to announce 3 new investments this year. Civic Progress will provide $100,000 to the St. Louis County Library, St. Louis Public Library, to provide over 90 scholarships for the Career Online High School program. Civic Progress will also provide $100,000 to Beyond Housing to provide emergency assistance to families in crisis within the Normandy Schools Collaborative. And finally, the Regional Business Council is continuing its investment in KIPP St. Louis with a $75,000 grant as part of our 4-year commitment to this charter school model that educates and prepares students in underserved communities for success in college and life. As Suzanne mentioned, these 8 organizations are doing much more than just bringing programs to people. They're helping to rebuild communities by equipping the residents in the area's most challenged neighborhoods with the tools and resources they need to create real and sustainable change in their lives and in their families. The desire to rebuild communities unites us. And it's one reason why, as announced last Friday, the Regional Business Council has committed $1.2 million worth of in-kind investments for neighborhood revitalization through Better Family Life's Operation Clean Sweep program, an annual event designed to provide inner-city residents a sense of hope for a clean, vibrant, and full-functioning community. Bringing skills and opportunities into underserved neighborhoods is one of the most powerful ways to achieve our region's highest potential and break the cycle of poverty. And the Regional Business Council and Civic Progress are honored to partner to support the organizations that are making that happen. As Suzanne mentioned, thanks to everyone for coming out this morning. Michael, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Greg and Suzanne. So we could not do what we do without the cooperation and collaboration from our friends in the government. So it is now my pleasure to bring up our County Executive, Dr. Sam Page, and our Mayor, Lyda Krewson. Dr. Page.
Thank you, Michael. And my thanks to the members of the Regional Business Council and Civic Progress. Your leadership and continued investment is a key to ensuring a prosperous future for all of our community. I came to the office of County Executive with a goal of improving the lives of everyone in our county. But when any part of the county is not thriving, any part of our community, then that affects our whole region and all of our potential. To break this cycle of poverty, all of our residents need to have access to opportunity, education, and resources. But government's commitment is crucial. We can't do it all on our own. It's a job for all of us. To all of today's recipients, thank you for your public-spirited work and your commitment to serving the residents in our most challenged neighborhoods. You are helping to rebuild our communities one at a time, one family at a time. We look forward to celebrating your success stories. And we look forward to continuing to work to make our region a better place to live and to work for all of our families. At this point, I'll turn it over to Mayor Krewson.
Good morning. This is a good morning for an announcement so significant that we have here today. So thank you, Suzanne and Tom Sandell and the entire Civic Progress organization. Thank you, Kathy Her Excellency Kathy Osborne, Woman of the Year. I picked that up from Michael McMillan. Greg Twardowski, and of course, thank you, Dr. Page. Thank you all for your commitment to investing in the important initiatives that we're talking about here today. Your organizations, the organizations receiving the funding today, are so vitally important to our region. Whether it's through job training, education, housing, crime prevention, your groups are improving the quality of life for thousands of St. Louisans. And when we improve the quality of life for individuals, we improve the strength of our entire community, our neighborhood, and our region. Your organizations and their focus on economic development and educational opportunities for residents is what counts. When we give people access to the tools and the resources that they need to climb the ladder of success, we create safer and stronger communities. What impresses me today about your groups and the groups that are represented here is that you're in it for the long haul. You've been there for a while. You have worked tirelessly in the community to bring new life, hope, and encouragement to residents in our most distressed areas. And you have made great progress. The story, Michael, that you shared about job placements just a little earlier at this outreach center is just one of the outcomes of last year's investments. For example, through the expansion of Better Family Life's Neighborhood Alliance program, the organization was able to de-escalate 65 conflicts that would have likely resulted in violence. Thank you. Thank you. And last year, STL Youth Jobs, a program that we're very proud of, provided nearly 750 jobs to young people, summer jobs to young people. And this year, they're going to hit close to 1,000 with your help. I do want to just take a moment of personal privilege and give a shout out to Jayla Cooper, who's in our office. Jayla's shy. Give us a who's an STL Youth Jobs employee this summer. Thank you, Jayla, for coming today. We celebrate this progress, and I know that the leaders of all these organizations today are very grateful, but they also know there's a lot more work to do. We're fortunate that St. Louis is such a generous community. Thank you, Civic Progress. Thank you, RBC, and all of your members for continuing that generosity throughout the years. I know we will continue to see a return on your investment. And for that, our community will be better. Thank you so much. Turn it back to Michael.
Thank you, Mayor and County Executive. It is now my pleasure to introduce Jimmy Williams, who is truly a living legend and the youngest living legend that I know, who is a great businessman, a philanthropist, a Renaissance man, and someone who is truly making a difference in this community. And if you've ever been to a McDonald's and had a great experience, it was one of his stores. If you didn't, it was owned by somebody else.
Thank you very much, Michael, and top of the morning to everyone. It is certainly good to be here. We say that in the Navy a lot, and I've got to say it today. I am glad to be here. The funding that the Regional Business Council and Civic Progress are announcing today is about revitalizing, regenerating our most challenged neighborhoods. With that in mind, I'm pleased to be here today to share with you the stories of two people whose lives have been dramatically changed as a result of these programs. First, the Urban League. The Urban League of St. Louis is, above all, a catalyst for economic opportunity for African Americans, helping more than 100,000 people every day, every year, break the cycle of poverty. We are fortunate to have such an incredible organization in our area, rebuilding communities and changing the lives of so many people. Michael McMillan pioneered the Save Our Sons program 4 years ago in North County. In the intervening time, over 700 African American men have received professional skills training and employment placement, enabling them to earn livable wages in meaningful careers here in St. Louis. We asked the Urban League to bring the program to the city, and since this facility opened on Dr. Martin Luther King Day earlier this year, an additional 130 men have gone through the program. Save Our Sons continues to expand as a result of the partnerships with area businesses like BJC Healthcare, Mercy, McCarthy, SM Wilson, who are establishing pipelines for Save Our Sons graduates into high-demand careers where they can continue to develop as professionals. I'd now like to introduce a graduate of Save Our Sons program in North City, Johnny Cotton. Johnny heard about Save Our Sons, and since then, the Urban League has helped him get a job and get his son a scholarship to Cardinal Ritter High School. Johnny?
Thank you. Good morning. It's one thing I want to tell you. My story is just one of the first stories that's been told by Urban League. And my name is Johnny Cotton. I'm 48 years old. At the age of 32, I was incarcerated for 30 years for a low-level drug offense charge. And my 4 children was raised by my mom. And my son Levi wasn't even unborn yet. After serving 16 years in federal penitentiary, I was humbly granted clemency by former Barack Obama. And that was one of the greatest days of my life. Thank you, Barack. But after being released in the halfway house, I heard some guys talking about the new Urban League Center across the street. And one day I was walking to the dollar store, and I glanced to the left, and I saw some flags being raised, and I walked in, and I was greeted by this guy named Mr. Stevens, Tydrell Stevens, and he welcomed me with open arms, and I told him about my story, and he knew exactly where I was coming from. So he facilitated a job with Vijon right there at the moment, and I got the job immediately. And right now I'm working. Thank you, Mr. Tydrell. Thank you. Mr. McMillan, thank you. But he's told me one thing I had to do. I had to come to class. And the class was really spectacular. The hands-on approach was just blew my mind away. And but that wasn't it. I'm sorry about that. The clothing room was spectacular. I got a suit I had on for about 16 years, and I felt strong, man. I felt just empowered. I felt unjudged. I felt like I can do anything I want. And after having one suit, I got 3 more others to go with that. You know, I got a tie, I got a shirt, I got a vest, I got pants, I got shoes to go along with that suit. It felt unbelievable. But it's one more other thing I would like to say. I would like to thank Mr. Tydrell. I would like to thank Mr. McMillan. I would like to thank the sponsors, his staff, the donors, and anybody else involved in this organization, SOS, Urban League. I would like to thank all of y'all from my heart. I was a man with nothing, found the job. Now I feel like I'm just strong and I'm surviving out here. Thank you all. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Johnny. What a powerful testimony about the difference Save Our Sons is making for residents in this community and the value of our continued investment into these programs. Better Family Life is another organization that is working at a grassroots level to rebuild our most challenged neighborhoods. Their initiatives, including extensive community outreach programming, gun violence de-escalation, and so many more, are saving the lives and transforming neighborhoods in North St. Louis. Last year alone, Better Family Life de-escalated 65 conflicts in Chief Hayden's zone that were likely to result in future gun violence and loss of life. They provided social service support to 3,200 families in this region, engaged more than 4,000 residents at neighborhood triage sites targeted at the elimination of open-air drug markets, assisted residents in securing jobs, and enrolled residents into drug treatment programs. Here to share the profound difference that Better Family Life's programming has made in her life is Andromeda Sykes. Andromeda shared with me that she's a bit nervous. I told her I know her mother, and she can't be nervous because I'm nervous. Andromeda connected with Better Family Life through the Gun Violence De-Escalation Center, where she was assisted with temporary housing and then permanent relocation and employment. Andromeda?
Good morning. First, I want to thank James Clark. My son was a victim of gun violence. I live in one of the worstest neighborhoods in St. Louis City. I'm from off 20th. And I reached out to James Clark, and he got me and my family some temporary housing. And then shortly after that, I was placed into a permanent housing. I relocated. I don't even live in the city no more. I was granted a job. I start a job tomorrow. So with that being said, change can happen. My son was headed down the wrong direction. I took it up on myself, and now he's doing better. He's playing basketball. He don't even have a desire to even go back in the neighborhood. And so I want to thank James Clark and his whole staff, Miss Joy, for helping me. I would have dressed for the occasion, but they didn't tell me. But thank you, and nice to see you, Jimmy Edwards.
Thank you, Andromeda. Andromeda's experience is a testament to the impact that Better Family Life is having on the lives of our residents. The opportunities that the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis and Better Family Life are making possible for underserved residents in the St. Louis region are many. And I'm proud to announce that this year's funding from the Regional Business Council and Civic Progress will serve to further expand their program to even more residents. Michael, let me turn it back to you.
Thank you, Jimmy. It is now my pleasure to introduce a great friend of the Urban League, Mr. Todd Schnuck, former chairman of our board of directors and a member of Civic Progress and chairman and CEO of Schnuck Markets. Todd.
Well, thank you, Michael. That chairing the Urban League was one of the greatest pleasures I had, so appreciate it. Well, welcome and good morning. You know, as a business leader in our community, hearing your powerful testimonies gives me hope, and I'm speaking to Andromeda and Johnny. Those were just fabulous, so thank you. It also gives me confidence that our collective investments are providing a valuable return to our region. And for that reason, I encourage even more of our area businesses to get involved and invest to help St. Louis region achieve its highest potential. With that said, I'm pleased to have the opportunity today to introduce you to this year's grant recipients. These programs were selected because of their proven ability to equip participants with the skills, opportunities, and support necessary to drive positive change in their own neighborhoods. And to our grantees, When I call your name, please come to the podium. We'd like to honor your organization and celebrate with a group photo. Michael McMillan, representing the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. James Clark and Malik Ahmed, representing Better Family Life. Hillary Fry with St. Louis Youth Jobs. Rose Hanley from the Little Bit Foundation. Chester Asher, representing the North Side Community School. Kristen Sorth from the St. Louis County Library, and Waller McGuire from the St. Louis Public Library. Chris Krameyer from Beyond Housing, and finally, Kelly Garrett with KIP St. Louis. I'd also like to invite Tom Santel, Suzanne Sitherwood, Kathy Osborne, and Greg Twardowski to the stage for the photo as well. Well, congratulations, everyone. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Michael.
Thank you, Todd. I would also like to recognize all of the graduates of the Save Our Sons program that are in the audience with us. Would you please stand? We want to congratulate you on receiving jobs and economic and also we want to recognize all of the community outreach staff of Better Family Life that are here with us. Ask them to please stand. We thank you for your hard work and dedication out in our neighborhoods every day. And of course, we have mentioned it before, but we have not asked all of the members of the RBC and Civic Progress to stand, because without your support, we would not be here today. So if we could have all of the members to please stand. We want to thank you for all that you have done to make today a reality. Along with our U.S. Attorney, who works with our police chief and our Director of Public Safety to make sure that we do everything that we can to make our neighborhoods as safe as possible. Jeff Jensen, if you would please stand. Thank you for being with us today. So we will have questions available for the press afterwards. The grantees are available for interviews and have impact stories to share. We will make sure that we can have all of our grantees available. We also have the ability for them to come up individually and have a picture with their various logos out there that are in the back. If you could hold them up so everyone can see that we are ready for them, with the St. Louis Public Library as the first one that we would love to have you to come up. Richard Davis will take those pictures. And as I bring Reverend Witherspoon to do the benediction, I just want to say once again, on behalf of the Urban League and Better Family Life, how very grateful we are to all of you for this collaboration, how we are working together, and how we are going to make a difference in these very challenged neighborhoods that need our help. But we wouldn't be able to do it without you, by working together with the business community, the government, and not-for-profit allies working on behalf of the residents in this community. So thank you so much, Reverend Witherspoon.
Let us pray. The psalmist declares it best in the 8th Psalm, O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is your name in all the earth. You have done this, Lord. Let whatever we attempt to do prosper, And now send us forth to fulfill the work that is assigned our hands without reservation, trepidation, nor hesitation. Amen.